almost there. Okay, I think we're live in Facebook world. Okay, so welcome everybody to this week's Beyond the Cloud, hashtag Freestyling Fridays, hashtag unscripted fun. So we have, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tanya Hilt, founder of Cloud Bookkeeping Services and Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp. And we are lucky enough to have with us for our co-host today, Ms. Dianne Mueller. So I will just give you a moment to introduce yourself, Dianne, to everybody. For those who don't know you, they must have been living under rocks, but still.
Oh, I think there's a few, especially brand new bookkeepers.
True.
But anyways, thank you very much, Tanya. I am certainly honored to be co-hosting this week with you. So I'm Dianne Mueller, certified professional bookkeeper, the active founder of IPBC back in 2007. I have a company called SOMA, Small Business Solutions, which is a very much family-run business. So my son works for me, my sister-in-law works for me, and of course we collaborate with my daughter Bianca, which a lot of you also know. She also runs her own consulting bookkeeping practice. And yeah, I'm excited. I love what I do. I've been doing it for 30 years now, and recently have moved over mostly to a mentoring kind of position, mentoring brand new bookkeepers. So those bookkeepers that are coming out of school and confidence level isn't really high if they haven't had any clients yet. So I kind of just shadow them and help them make sure that they're doing the right entries everywhere, and it gives them confidence to move forward. So yeah.
That's awesome. And you know what? Honestly, I couldn't think of anybody better, to be able to do that, because they will learn so much, gain the confidence, and yeah, they'll learn so much from you. So that's great. That's great.
I mean, really, everybody else has got all the apps covered and can get lots of information about software and products and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But a lot of times it's just, I don't know if I'm doing this debit and credit right, or how to post it, or where to put it. So that's kind of where I fill in a good niche, and I like it. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, and you're shaping, helping to shape the future. And you can get them to see that bookkeeping is not dead entry, and bookkeeping is not dead anymore either, right?
Exactly. Exactly. All of those things.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So with that, let me ask, because I know that yourself and Jessica, and I think even Leanna, who I don't know if she's doing something in the background, but I know Leanne has as well. So with us, with bookkeeping, the way that the apps are doing a lot of the data entry for us, that's where this financial advisory webinar series that I worked really hard to get into place. It's funny, it started out I thought, just for me. And then I'm like, no, for the boot campers. And I'm like, yeah, you know what, to heck with it. It takes me nothing extra hardly to roll it out to everybody, but then that way it'll help everybody move forward. So we had Rondell and Corlick do the kickoff for this week. So let me ask your opinions. Was there anything valuable in there that, either you've learned or that you think that just, is important in the general public? Like, what were your impressions of hers?
I'll go first. I loved it. I thought it was a great time well spent. And for a couple of reasons, I think that she did an amazing job of getting into the nitty gritty of exactly what we need to do helping with cash flow. She kind of concentrated on that as a new advisory, was the cash flow side of it. And I thought she did an amazing job of explaining cash flow, first of all, and then talking about why it's so important to make sure that's part of what we do offer going forward, and not just, presenting financial statements. I recently saw something that I thought made a whole lot of sense, and that was, it was almost like a pyramid or a triangle kind of thing. And on the very bottom was the data entry. And then up from it was financial statements, and then interpretation, and then advice, and then advisory services. And I thought, wow, that was a really good picture of exactly what's going on in the industry. And you can kind of slot yourself as to where you are in that triangle. And then, you know, it kind of gives you a roadmap a little bit of where you need to look at to gain the skills to go into that next level. Because, you know, as we all know, the data entry part is being taken over. So that's almost gone.
Yep.
As far as spending any kind of time, in your business developing it. Like, don't do that, right? That's a done deal.
Yep.
Not that I don't want people to think that it is not fundamentally important for bookkeepers to understand basic bookkeeping. I think that message can come across sometimes, and that's not what I would want to say at all, because I think that's number one important thing that they have to understand. And, you know, then let the machine do it, but you need to understand exactly what's going on there. So
what we do, we're still in charge of compliance, regardless of that. Compliance is our foundation, right? So we need to know, you can't build the second story of the house without having the foundation, the first story.
That's right.
Compliance is our foundation, but you're right. I think you're right. I agree that it shows.
But you don't want to spend any time actually putting any effort into it, or even, you know, putting it out there to your clients. That's not the face that you want when you're doing your marketing and your advertising and talking to your clients. You don't want to talk about data entry.
Right.
You just need to be the expert in it and know that it's going to be correct.
Yeah.
But spend your time in those other areas, which is great, because it's like me, when I'm actually talking to brand new bookkeepers and helping them with that kind of stuff, then I have all of these resources that I can send them to, like your boot camp is a perfect one, your series of, you know, so that's kind of what I'm looking for, is to get all that information together so that when I'm with that brand new bookkeeper, I know where to send them next so that they can climb up on that pyramid, or whatever we want to call it, triangle, to make sure that the majority of what they're doing is in the top 3 sections.
Right. Well, and I do want to talk more too about what you've got, your mentorship program is like, because we have had people that have contacted us that are brand new to bookkeeping, and that's kind of the fundament. I guess the title can be a little deceiving because they think, oh, you're going to teach how to bookkeep. No, you need to know your craft. This builds on top of all of that. So I do want to talk to you more about that.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's kind of where where I want to be, is underneath that, and collaborate with all of you guys doing all the other apps and software stuff to give them access to that too. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So Jessica or Deb, I know Jessica, you were on at least one of them. You were on Mondays, right? So yeah, what's your opinion on what you saw and how Rondalyn delivered it? Because I really wanted this to be more in the practical, the how-to. We've all seen enough of the app demos. That's why I said to the apps, I don't want a demo. We want practical, something that we can get off the call and go away and actually visualize how we can implement and how there's value.
Yes, and something that I like very much about her session was how she was giving good examples of how you can break things down for the client, to do away with the lingo and the whole complicated thing. And I was very excited that she emphasized how a cash flow projection is really useless when it's just a projection, it's just a what if. This is something that I sometimes butt head with my clients, because like, I want a projection. I'm like, well, in order for it to help me, I'm going to have to create several scenarios, because you don't have any predictable patterns and you usually don't follow instructions. So me creating a projection is not going to do you a whole lot of good if you're going to deviate from that. Right. So, but if I had to say, though, my top favorite thing was her diagram of the bathtub.
Oh, right.
That's
it can be tricky to sometimes translate things to clients. Yeah, you can say money in, money out, but some clients are visual. Words just go in and go out and they don't stick. Yeah. And I saw that image, I was like, oh, I have to get the book where that came from.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, she did a great job with that stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. And Deb, were you on her call? Or see the replay to it?
Say that again.
Sorry, did you see either the replay or the live of Rondalyn Corlick's Financial Advisory Series on Monday?
I didn't.
You didn't? Okay. Mm-hmm. It's on the Bookkeeper's Corner page and on the YouTube channel. Definitely watch it.
Okay.
Yeah. If you didn't, I would highly recommend it. I loved it.
The other thing that I loved was her description of money being trapped inside the business.
Yep.
And I thought that was a really clever way to get that concept across, for sure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we can be stuck, and myself not so much, because I came from insurance, and insurance, everybody spoke very lingo, like very insurance lingo, and insurancese or like accountantese or whatever. So I've always been trying to translate into words that they understand, and I love that she puts that across as well too. I found that when I actually thought about it, there's some terms that I was still using that I probably could be using a little bit less as well too. And it's funny when she talked about the reports, we had started sending out on our monthly reviews the last couple of months, just a monthly, like a profit and loss broken down by month for that last fiscal year. And we just thought we'd give it a try, and we end up confusing more people than anything. So we had that discussion yesterday, and that's exactly what she said. It's just going to confuse them. And we did.
Yeah.
We said, forget it. Let's just stop sending it. We'll just, kind of translate the information into words and talk about it on the phone call. And then, we'll just kind of do ad hoc reports, but again, really drilling down into the client, what it is that they're actually looking for.
Right.
So,
I did notice, actually, did anybody else see where she went out to her website, I think, and then she showed, I think it looked like a report that she might send out that talked about where their problems were. So she came at it from a different perspective. Jessica, do you remember that, where she would say, she didn't send them the analysis. She said, the analysis is that you've got an AR problem. And then it looked like there was a drop down there that could talk about how they could fix their AR problem. And I thought, wow, is that like a template she has or something? Because that would be incredibly useful for us to have.
now,
I think it's a software that she's affiliated with that you could sign up for, that she did a very brief demo, and it's very plain English, user-friendly, it's color-coded. This is the money that came in, this is the money that came out, and this is where the issue is.
Okay, so that wasn't part of her, it's actually a piece of software you can buy.
Yeah, that's Busynest, which is not necessarily, Busynest is interesting. It's not really software. It's more, it's kind of more like a coaching software. So it pulls the analysis out. So that's basically what you would see on your tool. If you use Busynest, that's the information it would pull out from the client, and that's scenarios and discussions that you can then turn around and have to the client. So you can pull down the pull down arrow. So that completely, So you're on the right page, Dianne, but except for the client doesn't see that. That's for you to see for your talking points with the client. That's my understanding.
Pretty useful.
She's still sleeping now, but
what's that?
I said, I wish she were here to be able to comment on that, but she's still sleeping because she's Australian. I think it's still at 4 a.m. there. So
so anyways, I'll do some more research on that, because I think that was a very simple way to not only teach your clients, but also for new bookkeepers to understand where to find those problems when they're looking and analyzing a financial statement at the end of the month.
Absolutely. Now, one thing too that I did actually post on the same link in the Bookkeeper's Corner today that had the link to the original recording. She had let me know that her pricing value workbook is actually going to print next week, and therefore the price is going up. So that's still the pre-purchase price. That's again for about another week on that, and that is apparently over 300 pages. It's a full size 11 by or 8 by 11 workbook with over 300 pages of examples and templates and exactly what she uses, her exact scripts, her exact everything. So I ordered it. I for one ordered it. I thought, I went in and looked at it, and I think it's, what was it, $6.99 or something. That's for the regular price. I know she gave our boot campers a little bit of an extra deal.
I'll have to go check it. I'll have to go check it out and see, because I thought it was a pretty cool tool.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly. So I sat there and I debated, and I'm like, you know what? I'm only in chapter 3 in her book. I just haven't had the time to sit down and finish reading it. Can I guarantee that it'll be worth the dollar? I can't. I don't think you can anything that you buy it, but everything that I know about her and from what I've seen about her, I won't bet that I'll definitely find value in it. So yeah, I took the risk. And then I also bought, when you go in and buy that, you can, and this don't mind to sound like a commercial, but then if anybody's interested, if not, then that's great. But you can actually purchase a 2.5 hour extra video that it's not a companion to the workbook, but it's extra kind of like pre-recorded coaching. And then if you do that, because I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just do that. I mean, you're already in, I'll just keep going. And then at the very end, you get a free one-on-one session with her too, if you bought them both.
Oh.
So yeah, which it's funny, which I kind of messaged her back and I'm like, that's great. But I think that she should have I didn't realize I got the free one-on-one until after I put the webinar into my cart. So I'm kind of like, if you would put here the webinar, then if you purchase this, then you get a free one-on-one, that might be more enticing to some.
Yeah, to finish the purchase.
Yeah. But excuse me. Yeah, but so, hopefully, and I would think again, out of 300 pages of all of those scripts, that I think that's kind of where she got the premise for Busy Nest is, again, it's got those scripts right built into Busy Nest. So it's
I see.
versus her online, which is where I was kind of going with that. So
right. So, and it's just a flat fee purchase and then it's yours after that. So it's not a subscription based.
The software is a subscription based because it's coaching with her and all of that. The workbook, it's a physical book. It's a one-time purchase, and same thing with the video. You buy it, you've got that. So
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
What I got out of that whole thing was it reminded me of my why I started my company 6.5 years ago. The reason why I went into business, not just to do bookkeeping, but to help other companies expand their business, do what they want to do in business and reach their goals of not just being in business and staying where they're at, but
growing.
Ultimate goal of retirement. And because, CFP, certified financial planner, wealth management, those types of things. And it's not just it's the bathtub syndrome, right? So, and it just was like, oh my God, why am I doing bookkeeping and data entry? And I get the cleanup jobs. I love doing the cleanup jobs, right? But it's not just data entry anymore. It's receipt bank and all of the other things. They're doing it for us, right? So it's like, she was like my aha moment for a moment there. Oh my gosh.
Almost like a back to basics, right? Like,
yeah,
go back to school. You let yourself get sidetracked. Refocus.
Yeah, for sure.
No, good.
And I've been reading her book too. Like, I bought it months ago online. So it was like, okay, I was like, I'll read it again from scratch.
And I love the way that she does it. She does storytelling. And I know I've had conversations on Facebook, or I've been involved in conversations on Facebook with different people who said that they don't really, they can't get into the book because of that. Personally, it helps me visualize, and I do stay interested better versus a textbook type book. So I like it better. It speaks to me better. And that's why I like the way that she weaves everything and does that. So it's a lot more visual. And then Leanne, you were on there. What did you think of it too? Because like Leanne, that's what her background is, a lot of that, the cash flow forecasting or cash flow and forecasting and budgeting and all of that. So I'd love to, and we haven't really had a chance to talk about it, even though, we work on the other side of a desk from each other.
Yeah, there's not always time though to fit those extra conversations in. But no, it was really interesting. And it's funny because a lot of what's coming out around this topic of advisory is being able to talk to your clients kind of in layman's terms, in not using the advanced language, and being able to share their numbers in a way that helps them understand it. And I think that starting from that point of view is a really, really good basis to what to do with all of these other apps that are going to throw a lot of numbers at us and a lot of information. So we need to first understand how we're going to share that.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, ideal. And then Shirley Mathers just came out. Well, not just, but it was when you were talking, Diane, I just didn't have my Facebook open because I'm kind of going back and forth between these screens. But she absolutely agrees with you with Rondalyn's approach, and that she actually gave action items to help solve, I guess, with that drop-down menu. So
yes, I really like that. I thought, oh, that's a really cool thing. I wonder if that's a template or what it is, but now I know. So I'll go and do some research on that product for sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever used it before, Jessica?
No, I actually first learned of it during their session.
Same time?
I have seen other products that claim to do similar stuff, but they were not this user-friendly. I never made it past the demo or trial stage.
Yeah.
And that's a really good point. It was just so user-friendly. It was instinctive of, what to do next. Right?
Yes, and that's the key, because sometimes these apps overcomplicate things. Their selling point is it makes it easier for you to help the client, but still not in a format that you can present to the client. You still need to translate it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And that's part of what I'm hoping that we can all get out of this financial advisory series too. I mean, I've pushed to the apps that I don't want just a demo, and I've stressed to them and said, because if we don't understand and can't, again, really easily, practically understand how we can use it, we're just going to churn. We're going to stop using. We're going to be like, yep, trial period over, or pay for a few months, and you're going to be gone, and you're not going to get back. And I have to say, some of the ones that I've talked to and that are in this series, I haven't gone back and looked at them. It's been over 3 years since I've even looked at them, because I just wasn't impressed. And again, at that point, it was like, at first it was like, ooh, big shiny new lights. And then when you get in, you're like, again, it's not practical. So it's, so on top of getting the tips on how to actually implement, hopefully we're still going to be good, because I said to them, I'll still do a demo, but we want to see the how-to with, like, your good examples, your good whatever, and a focus on how to practically implement it. So that way we can kind of see, hey, this tool might be good for this, or that one might be good for this. Or, you know what? I like the way that one does this, because again, there's just so much that.
Well, I have a receipt bank question.
Yes.
If that's appropriate, maybe
it
somebody could help me with.
Fridays.
Yeah. So in Receipt Bank, and I do not have the higher version, so I'm at the lower version of using it. So that has to do with, I'm sure, some of the features. But of course, we do have in there the ability to do expense reports. And I have created expense reports for people that have uploaded. But today I got caught where I couldn't create a new expense report from somebody else's upload. So I think I know the answer to my question, but I thought maybe there might be a workaround. So another person uploaded a bunch of receipts that needed to be reimbursed to a different person.
Okay.
So I wasn't able, which I would normally do, is go in and create an expense report and put all of those expenses into the expense report. Right. So I'm, pushing over one expense report to QBO. I wasn't able to create that. And I think it's because it's somebody else that upload them to Receipt Bank and not the person that the expense report will be attached to. Does anybody know the answer to that?
Nope, nobody's. Jessica, do you know the?
I do not use Receipt Bank.
Okay. I'm like, you've got lots of answers.
Everybody goes to me like, you don't? And I'm like, yeah, I don't like their customer service, so I said bye. So
that's okay. You know what? That's okay. There's an app for everybody, right? There's an app for everyone. Yeah.
I think that is the answer. Is that if somebody randomly uploads receipts, but the actual reimbursement's got to go to somebody else, then it only allows you to create the expense report for people that upload, by the looks of it.
And if Sandra were here in the call today, she would be able to answer, because she does the expense reports here. It's on my list to learn, but so I've delegated that to her, and she's the one who deals with that. But she's she's not here today. So if I find out anything different, Dianne, I will let you know. How's that?
Sure.
Otherwise, I think that makes common sense that would probably be the answer.
I'm thinking that, but I thought, well, if I'm the administrator, I should be able to make an expense report for anybody. But
You think so?
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, like I say, I'll ask her on Monday. And if it's
Right.
any different, I'll let you know, or if I find it any different, for sure.
oh, so Brad's on Facebook telling me that it's because I'm in the lower version.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brad. There
I
we
was
go.
gonna suggest that, but I didn't know what version you're on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll look at that, but that just still, logically that didn't make sense to me. If I'm the administrator and I have the ability to do expense reports, then why would that be because I create them all the time for people that are uploading, because they upload, they're basic users and they upload receipts and their reimbursement. So I create the expense reports all the time.
Right.
I didn't understand why being in the lower version would stop me for creating an expense report if somebody else did the upload. That part didn't make a lot of logical sense to me, but it might be that's the case.
Well,
And that could be because, I mean, like he's Mr. Receipt Bank.
Yeah.
You know, he is in there probably more than anybody else that I know. He is
and
Receipt Bank. So
Yeah.
he does expense reports too. Like I do them, but I don't do them. I do them after the fact. So
After the fact.
Okay.
yeah.
see,
So you don't do you use the expense reports in Receipt Bank though?
Yeah, but they've already paid them out and given the check.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right. Well, the reason why I like it is because then you can keep the same supplier. So it might have to be get paid to Joe Blow, but
Yeah.
you want the supplier to be, Canada Post or Staples or wherever the receipt's actually coming from. And you can do that when you create the expense reports, which is why I love to do that way. But
okay.
yeah.
And sorry, there's a few people coming here. So Brad just clarified that, yeah, he has no idea what Extract has because he's never used it. So he was just referring to that.
Yeah.
version.
No, Brad, they do have expense reports available in there. It's just
Okay.
that
Yeah, Sherry Lee is saying that Dianne, she just did a test in her version of trying to combine expenses submitted to two different users, and she didn't have a problem. So
maybe.
Jennifer actually did point out, like, maybe who owns the file. So you're the administrator, but do you actually own the Receipt Bank file that they come in, or are you added on as administrator of somebody not within your Receipt Bank? Like, do they pay for that separately, maybe?
No, I pay for the Receipt
You
Bank.
pay for that. Okay, so that definitely wouldn't be it.
No.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess I'll have to actually figure it out or reach out to Receipt Bank and ask them.
I wasn't like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what.
No, and that's, I mean, like Brad says, he's been on Streamline, and I'm on the same one. I've just got the higher plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that I'm on. So I only know what we can do in ours. For sure. All right. But that was a good question. And we now know who's listening, who's watching on Facebook Live.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. All right. Any other topics? Somebody's got to have some topic for our Freestyle on Fridays here. No? Okay, well, Afsana, let's just jump out to you then, because you joined us. We'll just, I guess, jump back to the financial advisor. I know you were really impressed. So was there anything that you walked away with from Monday's call? Oh, and you're muted.
Okay, can
Here
you
we
hear me?
go.
Great. Okay. No, it was great. It was great. It gave me a different perspective and a different way of looking at things. I'm going to get her books and read them
Right.
and learn more and implement, because it just like it was a lot, and it was because, as I said, like it was a new concept, so it was a lot for me to digest and like take my, I have to like take my head around and look at it from a different angle. And I'm looking forward to, the following ones that we're going to have. And with that perspective and I'm sure we're going to get new ideas also
That's what
from
I'm
them.
hoping, that everybody, that we get at least one piece of good information from each one.
Yeah.
There's no reason why I
So-
don't think we can't.
Within next few months, it's 12 months, right? So by next
No,
year,
12 weeks. And we end
12
December.
weeks. Sorry, 12 weeks. Yes,
Yeah,
12 weeks.
We end
So
December.
by the end of, so by the end of, next few months, we should be able to, provide that, package it. That's the most difficult part, I guess, for me. So if anyone can have some idea of how to do it, because right now, and we all guilty of doing it more or less, that we offer it, we give them all the service advice and all that, but we never package it as a separate service. So how can I come and say, oh, I've been giving it to you for free, but now I can't.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. Thank you. So just jump back here. There's been more receipt bank comments in here. So Brad actually just said there's been a few issues lately with receipt bank, and many of them are actually solved by just reconnecting. And that's actually a good point, because I think I saw an email from one of our clients, Leanne, that was having issues with that. Let's just reconnect and reconnect her for that. And then Sherry Lee says, Dianne, contact Sherry Lee afterwards, because she just tried it and got it to work. And she can even see in the advanced function who uploaded the receipt. So maybe it is a connection thing. Maybe there's a extra step that needs to be made. I'm not sure. So
Okay, thank you, Sherry Lee. I'll do that. Thanks a lot.
yeah. And of course, if anybody is writing for testing anything and making sure it's working properly, and like, I swear to God, Sherry Lee needs to be an app tester. That's what she needs to do.
To be
An app tester, because she goes in and she tries to break things, and I always try to break things too, but I'm telling you, like, I'm nothing. She goes like to the 10th degree, and it's awesome. So
yeah, she's got that down pat.
she does. Absolutely. So that's great. So and it's funny with all of this new, the advisory, and the new shift in the way of thinking, we're actually going to be re-onboarding all of our clients. We're going to prices. We're going to set. We've realized that even though we set expectations and our packages are, 24 to 48 hours turnaround time for everything, what's been happening is, I guess, we've reset the client's expectations, because we are getting back to them right away. And now they're starting to expect it and, almost demand it. So we've decided that it's a good time to re-onboard, reset those expectations, talk about, the new advisor, however we're going to have it built in, and make sure that
How do you re-onboard them at their anniversary, or just?
We're just going to start between now and the end of the year. We're just going to pick, one at a time and start doing that. We've got our new client handbook that we're going to give them, and then just reset their expectations, reset their flows, have that open communication. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it for us. I think, some will, buy into some extra advisory, some won't, and that's fine. But again, as long as we're now resetting their expectations, because again, we've got people that are getting really upset if we're not responding to them immediately. It's like, well, your plan says 24 to 48 hours. So, but again, we've, for the past several years, have let them keep pushing those boundaries.
Yeah.
We try to respond.
Do you expect to lose some of them because of that?
Sorry?
Do you expect to lose some of them because of reboarding and changing the packages now?
No, because not everybody's going to have a repackaged change. They might just have their regular price increase, but it'll just be going through their expectations and then having that conversation. How can we help you better? How,
it's that old saying, you give somebody an inch, they will take a mile.
They will.
So by you responding and breaking your own contract in that sense, right?
Yeah.
They've seen they've seen the hole there, and they're going to go for it every single time. And then pretty quick, they forget that that's even there.
They do.
So sometimes just a reminder that this is how it's going to work. And it's not your fault. It's our fault. We haven't been really, good at that and holding our own contract up and making sure that we're fulfilling it completely by every letter. So yeah, I don't think you'll lose anybody. I think it will be a realignment and probably be really positive for both sides.
Exactly, because I mean, not everybody is going to have a big dramatic price increase. They will if they choose extra services. If not, if they say, yep, just that it's just a reminder that, okay, we are still going to try to get back to you same day just because we don't like things carrying over, but just a reminder that, you know, it is these are the terms. And, you know, we'll still do our best, but if we don't, these are the terms, right?
Are you going to reintroduce the advisory service as well when you do reboarding,
Yes.
the onboarding?
Yeah, we're not sure how that's going to look yet.
Yeah.
But yes, that is something that we're going to be definitely looking at as seeing if they want that. You know, even if we just at this point, just, you know, build it in and say, no, you'll get an hour with us. That's, you know, an hour meeting once a month. Because before it was just an hour meeting and they didn't know what to do with it. So now we can say, you know, it'll be an hour meeting, you know, to try to solve your problems or to try to do this or, you know, figure out what it is that you want and how we can help you. And, you know, and maybe again, give them a sample of some of these things that we're learning, you know, from here as to how to redirect their cash flow or re-explain things to them or whatnot.
I think that's brilliant, and I would love to get an update once you do, because I have been planning to do the same with some of my clients. And it's funny about the turnaround time. What I started to do is if they email me and I see it right away, I can reply right away, I schedule it to send later. So
Yeah.
even though I replied immediately, they won't get it until the end of the business day, and that way I am not breaking their expectations. But yes, I am in the process. I've got my client manual written. Now I'm stuck in the making it look pretty so that I can then do the same thing.
Yeah, no, and that's great. Yeah, we'll definitely report back. We'll report back to each other on our progress on it. Absolutely. We can be the accountability buddies for each other on this.
It's going to be a lot of work.
Well, it is, but if we're
I'm not afraid of it. Don't take me wrong.
no, we're not afraid of it at all. But I mean, you think about it, really, if we're having a conversation with them on the renewal, it's really just a longer conversation.
Mm.
You know, not just, hey, here's your price, here's the services. How has that how has that satisfied you in the past year? You know, because
No, I mean, like the conversation, yeah, but like you have to prepare for it, as you said, like you have to prepare for it. So that would.
And the minimum people are going to get, if they want to stay right where they are, no problem. They're just going to get their average, you know, 3 to 5% price increase, you know, wherever it is that they're sitting there. So we're not forcing them into a new plan change. I'm not forcing them to say, oh, take this higher plan, take this. It'll still be whatever works for them. And if they decide to stay right where they are, it'll just be a reminder of where they're at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think packaging is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
So,
and we've just been reminded just real quickly, Leanna Butcher breaks things too. I didn't realize her and I've never had those conversations. So
What was it? I missed it.
Sherry Lee pointed out that, yeah, Leanna Butcher breaks things too.
That's important.
Yeah.
You mentioned a few minutes ago, Afsana, that you were thinking about packaging some of these things separately, like the cash flow. We were talking about the cash flow. So this morning there was a really cool conversation going on
You connected?
No, it was on Seth Davis actually was his meetup in the morning that he does. And I was kind of taken back by this because he was talking about a new service that he used to do that he had dropped off and not thought about doing anymore, but is now bringing on board. And it's certainly one that I offer, and it's always been really quite effective for me. And that is actually literally a support package. You're not doing the bookkeeping. You're not producing financial statements. You're their support package that they can call you to actually get, instead of sitting on the phone with, you know, any one of the software companies for an hour and a half, they've got a direct line to you. And I mean, it does take knowing the product upside down and backwards again so that you can actually do that. But that's a package that I've had for a lot of years.
Us too.
It's been
for it as well.
Yeah.
Too. And I know that, Leanne and Santa, we've definitely talked about it with you because we talk about it with the boot campers, and that's it. And we, there are lowest packages, because we don't do as much work. We still, make sure that we're charging appropriately for the time they're getting. But when you look at all of it, there are lowest cost packages, but they are our highest, I guess, net profit packages.
Right.
As well too. And we sell a training package with them too, because if we're coming in there and we're helping them, we want to make sure that they're using QBO right, or they're using these apps right. So we do sell them a minimum of a $500 3-hour training package.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a standalone package. It's not part of your regular 3 for bookkeeping services and things.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So that was a good example of another service that you could provide as a standalone package that I thought was worthwhile. Yeah, for sure.
I'm making note of all that.
Good.
Refer back to week 3 on boot camp and 4.
Yeah, for sure. It just making a list of things that I have to go back and take a look.
Yeah, but obviously it's not a new idea.
It's worthwhile. It's not a new idea, and there's a lot of value in it for clients. They don't want to have the frustration when they're using the software and have questions and have to, go to this silly chat where really irritates people because they can't get to the point real quick and they're in a hurry and no, just tell me how to do this kind of thing.
Compliance questions, and they don't
absolutely all of that.
Yep,
all of that kind of stuff. There's value there. They'll pay for nothing but just a support package every single month. Well, it does start out being, when you first start it, it is heavy on the front end where they're using it a lot, but it drops off pretty quickly, where you're making a really good bit of money on a support package.
Well, we charge $175 as our lowest to start. That's not including the software. That gives them up to 1 hour of support with us, whether it be a Zoom meeting or, email back and forth, whatever works, best for them. Because sometimes you're right, at the beginning, they're quite heavy. And they want those, but afterwards it's maybe quarterly or year end or whatever. And then the rest of them, it's just, quick email, here and there throughout the month or whatever. And then we do a quick review of their file and send them our health check report, we call it. So review every month. And yeah, for $175, but you're right. After, 6 months, once, that we know that they're in a good place. I mean, Leanne, what do you do? Maybe 15 minutes a month, 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes at most, including a review for $175.
Yeah, it does vary, of course, by client. But some clients I've managed to do reviews in under 6 minutes, and they've needed less than like a 15-minute phone call in the month. So if you look at that, that's under half an hour when we've allotted for up to 2. So it's definitely worth our time.
Just another idea for people. I thought that was maybe, Seth made a good point. We used to have some things that we did, and then for whatever reason, just because, the bombardment of apps and everything else, that we're, kind of not doing it or promoting that anymore. But it doesn't mean that it's not something that you want to bring forward now and actually have as a separate package. And because tech support at any one of the software companies is has a lot to be desired. And of course, they're only tech support. They don't have along with it the bookkeeping support background that can make that feature or whatever it is that they're asking about work better for them. So yeah, there's real value there.
For those of you who are offering it, or Dan, you're gonna offer it. So is that going to be on a regular basis, or they can buy it as individual, like whenever they need it, they can book it?
As a subscription. It's a monthly recurring subscription. They pay a flat fee, whether they use it or not.
And if they don't want to do that, I'll still give them the one-off supports, but that's my just a quick question. And that's very expensive. So, they call me pretty, if they call me 4 or 5 times in a 6 weeks period, they were cheaper to go to the package of the support package. So yeah.
And you're right. You want to charge more for that. That's just like with the cleanup. You want to charge more for the cleanup because you want them on a monthly regular.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We charge, I mean, if you even look at our DIYs, it's somewhere around what, 133 an hour. And if we charge follow-up hours afterwards, it's like 175 an hour.
Yeah.
So for 175 a month, they're getting an hour support plus a review. It's totally worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, our support is 500, which works out to basically first 2 hours at 175, the third hour at 150. So it's not quite 133. So yeah, a little bit. And then then we've got the 175 a month, which includes the review, or they can book 175 just for an hour without us reviewing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that makes me think of something that I've been thinking about recently. We've got quite a bit of resources to go to now to find out how to price a client. But I don't know that we have as much, and there's probably a real opportunity, Tanya, there for somebody to actually to start teaching how to actually price a actual product package for those kinds of things, because you have to think about that. I had to really think that I needed to make my just a quick question not attractive to anybody that's going to use it more than once or twice. Right? How do I make it so that I can push them into the monthly package? And that's all, part of that art of pricing that we all have to, I think, get a lot better at than what we know for sure than I've been.
Well, I just had a conversation last night with somebody, and she called me up and she just says, she says, I'm thinking of lowering my price just to bring on a new client. And so we started talking and we kind of got into some creative ideas as to how she could still bring that client in, lower the price, but without actually lowering the price. So, because at first she's just thinking, lower the price down to $50 an hour. And I'm like, yeah, but now you're lowering your value. So get creative and maybe say, I really want to bring you on because of this and this and this. It's a startup, it's whatever. And then get creative with it and maybe kind of structure it as to a growing price. And I know she spoke to a couple other people. We spoke again today, and she's like really now in the creative mindset. So it's great to get creative. And I'm like, if you can find something that you can do like this, have it structured well. Just say, if you leave within, 24 months or something like that, whatever it is, here's my initial startup fee that you will have to pay. I'm going to waive this as long as you're with me over this long, something like that. I said, if you could create something like that, works for you, works for them, because she wants to get in a niche in here, like it would be great. And it's that creativeness, and it is hard to package, especially when you sit there and get, but I'm like, don't drop your value. There's other ways of doing it and explaining it by really kind of doing the same thing, but not letting the client have that same impression.
Very true. And that's something that I learned from Mark Wickersham. They want a lower price? Do ask them which service they want to do themselves. Yep. Oh, you're going to do your own data entry? You no longer want me to attach the receipts? Okay, let's discount fixed because that's less work for me. But your value is still there. And I found that to be so effective, especially with startups, because that's my niche. That's where my passion is. I love them. But let's face it, when you're a business owner and you've never hired a bookkeeping service, you're thinking, oh, that's a lot of money. I cannot really swing that. So I found it very helpful to start them small with the bare basic compliance. And then very gradually, as they get comfortable and they see that they're getting a return, it is worth it for their business to have this expense. Then they keep adding services, and the next thing we know, in 2 years, they're in the premium package with all the add-ons and bells and whistles.
Yeah.
That's a really good path to getting them into the higher level services for sure, Jessica.
And that's kind of where we start off with our DIYs. We're like, great, you can't afford it, no problem. We'll support you. We'll give you 3 hours of training. You can go on our monthly support plan, and either they realize it's for them and they see value and they keep doing it, which is great because again, it's our like highest netting package. Or they're like, oh, I can't do it myself. Yeah. And they realize they need to find the money and pay us properly to do it properly for them, or pay us, they'll hire somebody and pay us to come in and train them, or even as they grow, then you're right, as they grow. So either way, by showing you're going to support them in the beginning, there's so many you know.
Yeah, I have exactly the same thing. It's called the Bookkeepers Club, but it's not for bookkeepers. It's for the wife of the owner of the business, or, you know, the daughter that's now having to do the bookkeeping for her dad's business or her mom's business, that kind of thing. And that's exactly right. They come in pretty cheap. I think it's $199 a month that I charge for that. And they get 1 hour with me every month. And they're full of questions. They have folders, they call them the Dianne folder, so they can get the most out of that 1 hour. But it usually doesn't take too long. It's probably within 6 or 7 months that they're saying, you know what? Can you just do this for us?
Yeah.
About 95% of my support package clients upgrade to full service bookkeeping within a year.
Yeah.
The only ones that don't are the ones that actually have a non-bookkeeper on site, like say office admin. That's not her training, and then they keep me on just so that to make sure that she's doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of great ideas.
Yes. And that's what comes out of calls like this.
Exactly.
You know, we all have some great ideas from time to time, and then we forget about them.
That's right. You get
Something
distracted
happens
by the
and then-
shiny new toy.
Get busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that's it. That's all everybody's got.
So we got 8 more minutes. Come on.
Oh, I could talk a lot, but then we'll go over time.
Well, Brad,
I have a question. I don't know if it's a place for it here, but I'm going to just throw it out, out there, and then you tell me if it's not a good place. I have a client, and they had a bookkeeper, and the bookkeeper had them on wholesale. I already put that on Facebook, but I want to just see if you guys have experience with that. And then the bookkeeper, it was a big mess. And now there are 2 bookkeepers there, and that bookkeeper is having them on wholesale, and they can't contact her. Like, they just don't know what to do. And Intuit does not remove the person. They said the bookkeeper has to do it. Do any of you had this experience? It's been 6 months since January, and she's there. She hasn't done any work, but she's there. So,
But the owner can.
no, it can, but the problem is you have to get the right person at Intuit that knows. I had this issue with a client at the beginning of the year. It took several chats, several phone calls, several escalations until we were right to the correct department, where the business owner had to prove that this is my business, so that they had to send in their articles of incorporation, business license, I don't know what else. It took several weeks, but then they were able to transfer master admin rights.
What is the department? Who is it? Who should I
Oh
contact?
goodness, I don't know. But pretty much what you need to ask is you need to have master admin rights transferred.
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do.
Once they get master admin, they should be able to remove from wholesale. Now, in another case where we were getting nowhere, we just ended up copying the file with Chronobooks, and we imported it into one user script.
That's what I thought.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That worked well because they didn't have QBO payroll. If they had QBO payroll, I probably wouldn't have taken that route. But it was a lot easier and faster than wasting time back and forth with support.
Did you get copied everything, or did you miss something when you copied?
Everything transferred well. Some reconciliations got undone, but it was just seconds to re-reconcile.
Oh, that's not a big deal. Yeah.
So, I mean, the attachments were there. I think there were some payments and invoices that got disconnected, but it was faster for me to do that little bit of cleanup than go with QuickBooks support, because you guys know how that is.
I don't know who to talk to. Yeah.
Book a call. So because up here, if you're on Elite or whatever, but you can book a call. Book a call with the higher level support team first off. So book it with them. Name drop me if you want, because they all know me. Like I said, you guys can help me with this, because I won't talk to it. I won't call in the normal line. I book a call. That's it.
Where do you book a call?
If you go on here, let me do a quick screen share.
I don't think I'm that level to get a book a call though.
You have to be at the
Yeah.
top
So
level.
if you
Yeah,
go
I
here,
don't think I
you're
have
not at the
that
top
yet.
level yet?
I'm not, no.
If you go, oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, and that's I book a call. Okay, so if that's not going to work, then just if you're going to use Chronobooks up here in Canada,
Mhm.
I've not done this, so I don't know, but I know there's a few people who are watching on Facebook who have. I'm
Mhm.
not going to call them up by name just in case they don't feel like responding or they're not listening. Okay, there's Leanna. Okay, that it does mess up a little bit with the GST and
Mhm.
it affects the payroll. So I don't know the extent. So I don't know, Leanna, do you want to weigh in on that? If you don't mind, you raised your hand, so I'm assuming that means you'll get to weigh in on it.
Well, if you want, I could help you with it.
Yes, please, please, please. Yes.
Yeah, I've
So
done.
I message you?
Yeah, absolutely. We could do a
Thank
screen.
you.
I've
Awesome.
done several Chronobooks files, transferred files, done my own file. Lots
Okay.
of
They don't have issue with HST. They're non-profit. So, and their HST is not actually right. So doesn't matter how messy it gets, it needs to be fixed. But attachments are a big issue. We spend so much time attaching everything. So I want to make sure that it stays attached.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, the attachments stay. But I think even the GST, correct me if I'm wrong, Leanna, I think it's only the sales tax center, just like with the bank statements, if they get unreconciled, it just, the journal entries are still there. It's just not nice and neat.
What about payroll?
Did it ever?
No payroll. It doesn't bring over payroll, right?
Payroll? No. Did it ever touch desktop QuickBooks?
Oh, right.
Sorry, what was that?
Did it ever touch the desktop QuickBooks?
Yeah.
Was it ever on desktop before?
No.
Perfect. Okay, because there's a bit of a problem with that one as well. So
Oh, no. So I'm gonna lose the payroll?
it'll just come over as a journal entry.
Okay, so I still be able to do T4s and everything, or no?
No, you'd have to pull that information because that won't track by journal entry.
Is a journal entry? Can I delete the journal entry and redo the payroll for this year?
You can for the historical.
Mm-hmm. And that way I would be able to do the T4, right?
Is
If
it
I
going
do
to
that.
be, I know you weigh in on this, Leanna. Personally, I'm thinking rather than redoing the payroll, it would be easier to just kind of like,
It's only one person. It's so easy to do it.
okay.
It depends
It's
on
just
when.
one person salary.
I was going to say, but their year-to-date information might be easier to put in, but.
Year to date, I would do because it's
Oh, year to date would do the T4, right? That's right. Yes.
A year-to-date will do the T4, and then if you don't want to worry about the ROE, pull an ROE from the existing payroll, push an ROE through, just put change of provider.
Right.
You can
Okay, yeah.
your historical data and restart.
Yeah, no. That okay, perfect.
Problem solved.
Yes.
See, that's what we're about. Look what happens when we put our heads together.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's true. It's so true. Yeah, so very true.
Thank you so much. Okay, I would message you, Leanna.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay, and I'm just kind of taking a quick look back. That there's, Brad's got a few comments on that. Yeah, Chrono messes the GST. Any transactions converted from desktop, but we've got rid of those.
Yep. Yeah.
Where is the existing bookkeeper? Are they dead? Maybe. Who
No.
knows, Brad? And then, you'll need to set up payroll again. But we just figured that out. So, yeah.
Thank you, Brad, for weighing in.
Awesome. All right. Well, our hour is up. It's 4:30. So I thank you, everybody, for joining us. Those on Facebook and those who chose to join and to participate in. Thank you very much for Dianne for being our co-host.
Thanks a lot, guys. Everybody have a great Friday.
Yes, thanks. You too, Deb. And
Bye, Deb.
okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Have a great
Take
weekend.
care. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.